Hey soldiers, the day is fast approaching when government, large corporations, and the media will control your behavior via money, via your ability to spend. Your spending habits will be based on your behavior and whether or not you're complying with certain edicts that are coming out of corporate America and or the government, and the media will be there to expose you if you are guilty of wrongthink, and you will be impoverished. You will be cut out of the system. You'll get a economic scarlet letter branded right there into your forehead. What am I talking about? Well, a Canadian bank, it's actually a credit union, launches a credit card to track carbon emissions. And you might think, that's not so bad. I mean, I don't have to get the credit card yet. A bank in Canada has become the first in the country to launch a credit card that tracks customers' carbon emissions. This amid concerns that such a scheme could one day be used to restrict purchases. Now, some might say, well, why would a bank want to restrict purchases? Don't they make money off of that? Well, you see, we're in a new environment where making money is secondary to the message. Just look at Disney if you want proof of that. Look at these entertainment companies, how they're turning out this woke content that nobody is, very few want to actually consume. They're losing money hand over fist, and they're moving forward with it like a locomotive. It's like they don't even care. So the message has trumped the actual requirement to make money. Now, for empirical proof of what I'm saying, Disney is, over the 5-year period, Disney is down over 10%. This is a company that has so much IP. It's just incredible that they're losing money. But part of the reason why is because their product is not as attractive as it used to be. But like I said before, they don't seem to care. So if you think that a bank would, in this new woke environment that we're all living in, if you think that they're going to say, hey, you know what, it's probably not a good idea to interdict people's ability to spend, because that would hurt the interest payments that we collect off of those purchases. Nah, that's probably a colonialist type of attitude, probably be qualified as. In an effort by the credit union to display its commitment to climate action, Vancity will offer a credit card that links purchases to carbon emissions, allowing customers to compare their monthly carbon footprint to the national average. So you see the behavior modification here. You know who won't have this credit card and will not be comparing their monthly carbon emissions to national averages up in Canada? Justin Trudeau. He won't, because he'll say, well, look, I'm different. I'm better than all of you. I'm actually here as the prime minister, so I've got to fly around in a jet instead of taking Zoom. He just was taken to task by Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, over in this meeting they had over in China. Justin Trudeau is such a little boy, and that is exactly what Xi Jinping made him look like. Took him to task, and then Justin walked off all by himself, looking really awkward. Such an awkward guy. But in any event, he will say that, my motorcade, all of the trappings of power that I don't have to lead by example. I don't have to meet with Xi Jinping via Zoom, even though I'm telling you that driving an SUV is destructive to the ecosphere. So we're dealing with high hypocrisy. These guys like Trudeau, Al Gore, Leonardo DiCaprio, all of these people that preach it, they will never have this credit card. The bank will also advise customers on how to limit their carbon footprint. Now, here's where we're sailing into interesting waters, because now the bank is coming out, is coming out and saying, they're not explaining the fact that their interest rate on savings products is here and their interest rates on credit cards are here. Okay, they're not sitting down and talking to you about that. They are talking to you about your carbon footprint. Okay. We know many Vancity members are looking for ways to reduce the impact they have on the environment, particularly when it comes to the emissions that cause climate change, said Jonathan Fowley, Vancity's Chief External Relations Officer. As a member-owned financial cooperative, we believe it is our job to do everything we can to help, especially when it comes to the decisions people make with their money. This tool will equip Vancity Visa credit card holders with valuable information on their purchases and enable them to connect their daily spending decisions to the changes they want to see in the world. Okay, so right now it's, hey, compare your carbon footprint to the rest of Canada's and, be the change you want to see and all of this pablum. Trust me, this is a test. This is only a test. This is going to, this process is going to help them gather data on how to refine this. Other financial institutions are going to engage in this. And first, you're going to see things like this. You can get preferred interest rates if you are, if your carbon emissions fall under a certain level. Okay, you can get a bump in your interest rate. Then it's going to get a little bit more heavy-handed over time, and it's going to be like, we're only going to be able to spend X amount of dollars on this product, fuel, for example, any fossil fuel. You're only going to be able to spend X amount of dollars from this card on fuel. You're only going to be able to travel, so far with this card. If you've traveled outside of a certain radius, you're not going to be able to use this card because that's indicative, that travel will be indicative of you using a lot of carbon in order to get from here to there. Okay. And they'll have a timer on it. So if it takes you 6 months to walk from, to walk 200 miles, then, you'll be able to use the card. But if it takes you, 4 hours to travel 200 miles, they're going to say he's in a motor-driven vehicle. We can't allow him to spend or we got to throttle it back for a period of time. Trust me, this is coming. According to research carried out by Visa, more than 50% of Canadians are interested in monitoring their carbon footprint. Let's take Visa at their word. Let's take them at their word. As we previously highlighted back in October, Australia's Commonwealth Bank also announced a similar scheme, giving the customer the option to, quote, pay a fee, unquote, to offset their carbon footprint, with the average listed as 1,280 kilograms, a long way from the sustainable figure of 200 kilograms. Okay, so Australia's already there. Australia started out as kind of a prison colony, and I swear, man, over the last 3 or so years, they've really lived up to that, and it's a damn shame. But I think I've always thought that liberty was something that, while human nature leads us to crave it, when we actually get it, we don't preserve it like we should. I think it's meant for societies to really continually harp on and preach the merits of liberty. If you stop doing that and become decadent, then you forget what a treasure liberty is, and you start to cede all of this power back to the state, back to the Leviathan, so to speak. Allied with climate lockdowns, technocrats want to exploit hysteria over climate change to increase financial control over individuals. Absolutely. I would like to know from these climate change advocates, what is the one temperature that the Earth is supposed to be? Okay. And okay, I'll give you this. Maybe it's supposed to vary by latitude, but give us a list of what this stable temperature looks like. Because again, and I cannot stress this enough, if you look throughout the history of the planet Earth, there have been many different types of species that have been dominant throughout these different periods. Humanity has not always been the dominant species. Could it be that a planet hurtling through the vastness of space with its sun may experience various climactic changes throughout the epochs of time just on its own. I mean, because that is what we've seen with our planet prior to the introduction of humanity, right? Again and again and again. So again, guys, don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe here. All right, I'm not touching these cards. Now they may eventually introduce these features on cards that I already have. It may be introduced across the board. I'll have to deal with that then. But I'm not proactively going out and starting to help the Leviathan to control my life via my money. Now, there is speculation that at some point everybody's going to receive a carbon allowance card that would entail all adults receiving an equal tradable carbon allowance that reduces over time in line with national carbon targets. And again, in that way, based on your spending habits, you will be restricted in what you do. The West is falling apart at the seams. People, I encourage you to really get it together. Think long and hard about who you're voting for. If that still even matters at this point, who knows? Okay, so where is this going ultimately? Well, carbon units would be, quote, deducted from the personal budget with every payment of transport fuel, home heating fuels, and electricity bills. And anyone going over the limit would be forced to purchase additional units in the personal carbon market from those with excess to sell. So your lifestyle is going to be dependent on whether or not you can find excess carbon credits from somebody who's not using all of theirs, and you got to buy it from them in order to continue to live your life. All right, so they're going to link, the design is to link this very tightly to your ability to travel, your ability to eat, where you live, the whole 9 yards. And if you don't think they can slide in a component about whether or not you are guilty of wrong thinking, whether or not you've been towing the line on certain political statements that you may have thought you had a First Amendment right to make, well, if you think that can't happen, I got a bridge to sell you. We just did a video on people getting laid off. What if it happens to you? Watch this video. We go through exactly what you need to be thinking if you get laid off. Now, this is happening more and more as the economy softens. If you are not in a position to be laid off, you got your own business, multiple streams of income, bravo. Share this video with someone who may be out there working and needs to know what they need to do to prepare just in case that job leaves them. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.